alternative online video magazine, issue 7. We're here with
Brian Dixon.
Brian Dixon from the Aggrolites, the US awesome reggae band on Hellcat Records. So kick the interview off. How's the tour been going with Madness so far?
It's been great. They're been playing in front of the biggest crowds we've ever played in front of, and we've gotten to meet like Jerry Dammers from the Specials, the original keyboard player, the guy that started Two Tone, and he's been DJing every night, and so that's been a real thrill for us. And it's been cool, like, because these aren't our crowds. That when we've been playing shows with Madness and all these arenas and stuff, it's been like their crowds.
It's really mature crowd.
Absolutely, people that grew up with them back in the 70s and 80s and stuff, and so they're much older and they've never heard of us. But we've been able to win them over every night, and that's been pretty cool. It's yeah. Well, we've been hearing stories that like most of the support bands they get bottles thrown at them and booed off the stage, and everybody hates them. But we've been doing good.
Could you tell us a little bit about the work that you've been doing with like Tim Armstrong on his solo album?
Sure, yeah. About a year ago, Tim called us up and said, "Hey, I want to do a new solo album, and I got all these songs I wrote. They were actually Rancid songs. It's pretty cool." And he said, "But I want your guys' dirty reggae sound off of our first album, Dirty Reggae." He said, I want that sound, that style, that recording, everything, just my songs and my singing." So it was cool. He came into the studio where we record at, and I engineered it like I do all of our stuff, and I set everything up the way we normally do for the way we record. And he brought in his acoustic guitar, and he's like, "Here's the chords," and we like learn the chords, and we like just jam out a rhythm real quick. And we'd be like, "Hey Tim, what do you think?" And he'd be like, "Sounds great." And we'd record it, and it should be out in March.
Yeah. It's like 2 tracks up already, and then like he's got to release more though. But like Rancid are on their big world tour, aren't they? So
yeah, he's been busy, so he hasn't been able to finish the entire thing. It should be done in the next few months, but he's been working on it piece by piece in between the Rancid tours.
When you go on tour, what are your must-haves that you have to bring with you?
Most of the guys have to bring their iPods, just like the kind of the standard stuff to keep from being too bored. Everybody brings like DVDs so they can watch movies in the van. It's a lot of what I think a lot of people don't realize. You probably do because you know so many bands, but most people don't realize how much downtime you have. You work for a few hours a night, and the rest of the time you're just sitting around waiting to work. So I mean, you have, other than sleeping and a few hours of playing, you've got 10 hours where you're just sitting around with nothing to do, and it gets like really boring sometimes.
You don't ever like go wandering out in the city. I don't want to take the risk, or
I always get lost sometimes after a show and having too many beers. It's like, oh, I need cigarettes, and I'll be like, oh man, I've gotten lost in like France so many times. I don't need.
They have really weird opening hours in Europe at shops as well.
Right. It's just hard for us to get used to. Even, I mean, this is our 4th European tour, and it's still hard for us because normally back home things are open all night. And in Europe, things like, especially like in Germany and places where everything's closed by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, they have like 3-hour lunches. Like Spain doesn't even open until 6 at night.
Right.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's been tough.
What's happening? We're the aggrolites from Los Angeles, California. This song's called Mr. Misery. You don't sing along. You don't, I'll teach you. I said, hey, say, hey, hey, ah, 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 yeah, hey, ah, ah, ah. All right, do you see that? Do you feel it? Oh, you got Mr. Misery. I said, feel it. Whoa, right on down your neck. Do you know it? Do you hate it? Does it know that it's a don't like you? his mouth to bad thing. Like how he hates and he hates everything and everything on it. This whole world now, it's so ugly. Black and white and everything so cold. And you think you can really see how all the blood in his body is so much lower. Stay away, it's a misery. I quit knowing you. It's all you do to make things worse. What you going through? Oh, that's it, Lord. That's it. You say, hey, come on. Yeah, yeah.
Process, like, why do you choose to do it that way, like with just like one microphone on drums and like the old school way? Why do you rather do it that way than like have like 20 mics set up in the drum kit like every other band? Or
Right. Well, we don't try to copy any specific old school reggae band or artist or song. We music, like back then they would have, it was so ghetto, they'd have like a studio would be a room with a couple microphones, and then the bands would just get in there and just rock out. And that concept was like so cool to us. It's like, because we love those records, like, man, if you could really get in there and do it with just minimal, like if something doesn't sound right, instead of like grabbing a new microphone or, you know, compressing or EQing, it's like if the guitar doesn't sound right, you know, it's not cutting through enough, just brighten up your amp or something, or play different. You start from the source first, and then let everything else kind of work itself out.
It kind of comes with the whole like DIY thing, you know, like instead of like spending crap loads on mics, like, because they do cost a bomb, you know, like. Absolutely,
it's more, I mean, it's got kind of a punk rock sound in a way, you know, it's real raw, it's just like.
It's more of a vinyl sound, even on CD.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
You can like have the skippy bits, and, you know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So absolutely.